In 2012, something strange started happening in the pharmaceutical industry. One after another, the world's biggest drug companies began pulling back of neuroscience. In 2012, AstraZeneca slashed its entire neuroscience department, laying off many researchers and keeping only about 15 neuroscience investigators. In 2018, Pfizer, a pharma giant, announced that it was exiting neuroscience research entirely. Then Amgen, Eli Lilly, and others, all pulling back, cutting programs, walking away from some of the hardest problems in medicine. Why? Not because the diseases stopped being serious, not because the need went away, but because the drugs were not getting approved. And not because they didn't work, but because of what they were up against, the placebo effect. In clinical trials, new drugs have to outperform a placebo, a treatment something that looks like a treatment, but has no active ingredients. And again, especially in brain disorders, the drugs barely outperform the placebo. Sometimes they didn't outperform it at all. Imagine spending billions of dollars to develop a new treatment, only to find out that a sugar pill works just as well. Billions of dollars, thousands of careers, entire departments, all gone. Was it all wasted? Maybe not. Maybe we've learned something crucial, that sometimes the strongest medicine is not in the pill, it's in the brain, in our own beliefs, in our own expectations. Placebos are treatments with no active ingredients, but real physiological effects, the placebo effects. And placebo effects are not about deception. They're about the brain's ability to translate beliefs into physiological responses. My lab studies beliefs, how they are shaped, and how they influence our experiences. And today I'd like to tell you about one line of research where we study how we can make treatments work better by shaping beliefs. What we suggest is that placebo effects are not a problem preventing us from developing new drugs. They're an opportunity, the solution. Because here's the shift. Placebo effects happen not just with fake treatments, but with real ones too. They are part of how any treatment works. If you take an active treatment, a real drug, and measure physiology before and after, you get the overall treatment effect. And this effect consists of the drug effect, the physiological changes that are induced by the active ingredients of the drug, and by natural recovery, or changes that would have happened anyway, even if you don't take any treatment, and by the placebo effect, by the context, the therapeutic context, the effect of taking a treatment, the belief that you're being treated and will get better. What if we could harness this effect, ethically and systematically? What if we could make any treatment work better just by shaping belief? Once realizing that placebo effects are powerful and should be harnessed, researchers asked, can we just boost them for everyone? Some researchers focused on the people, trying to identify the placebo responder, the person who always benefits. Others focused on the intervention, trying to find a way to induce placebo effects. What should you say? How should you say it? When should you say it? But the findings were inconsistent. Different studies, different contexts, different populations found different answers. Meta-analyses tell us the same thing. There is no such thing as a placebo responder, no one-size-fits-all script. So what I'm suggesting is this. Placebo effects, they are not a personality trait or a general population effect. They are a relationship, an interaction between the patient, the treatment, and the message, how the treatment is being described. Something might work for one person and not for another, not because one is susceptible and the other is not, but because the message fits one person and not the other. Some people might find a specific explanation reassuring. For someone else, it might sound vague. Or some people might trust technical language. Others might just need a relatable example. So maybe the real question is not who responds to placebo. Maybe it's what message works for whom. And if that's the case, then individual differences are not a problem to control for. They are a feature to design for. So if the key is to match the message to the person, how do we actually do it? And how do we do it at scale in the real world, not just in the lab? This is where our work comes in. In our research, we collect information about the individual, their demographic information, personality traits, beliefs, even emotional states. We combine that with information about the treatment, what it does, how it works. And then we use AI, large language models like ChatGPT, to generate tailored treatment explanations. Why AI? Because it can take all this complex information and translate it into language, simple language, that works for the specific individual. And it can do it quickly, flexibly, and at scale. And we don't just want to create nice explanations. What we want to do is to boost treatment expectations. Because we know that higher treatment expectations, grounded in trust and understanding, can lead to better treatment outcomes. So let me show you how this looks like in practice. Let's say we have a person who is extroverted with external locus of control and low fear of pain, neuroticism, and conscientiousness. We take this profile and feed it to the AI together with the treatment information. And then the AI generates a message, a short description of the treatment that is tailored to that specific person. But because I don't like black boxes, we also do something unusual. We ask the AI, how did you tailor the message? And it tells us. It says things like, I emphasize quick action with words like fast acting or working within minutes, or I emphasize ease of use with words like apply directly, easy to use, or external validation with sentences like widely used in clinical settings, to fit this person's preferences for confident, externally validated messages. Or it says that it avoided overwhelming explanations because this person is not particularly anxious or skeptical or detail-oriented. And this is not magic, it's design, and we're testing it rigorously. In our experiments, we compare these personalized messages to generic ones, or even to someone else's personalized message. And we measure whether this affects treatment expectations, and then whether it boosts actual treatment outcomes. Now imagine this in a clinical setting. A patient walks into the office and answers a few questions, maybe just chats with an AI. Then they walk into the doctor's office, and the doctor decides on a treatment for them. And then, behind the scenes, the AI creates a tailored message for them, maybe a video, maybe a digital guide, one that speaks to how they think, what they need to feel confident. Anywhere beliefs affect outcomes, which is most of medicine, this approach could make people feel better, stay engaged in their care, and recover faster. And it's not to manipulate them, it's to enhance actual treatments. It's not about tricking people. It's about helping their brain do what it already knows how to do, to heal, to respond. Placebo effects are not a glitch in the system. They are part of how we heal. Personalized medicine, matching the right person to the right treatment, is already becoming reality. But we can and we should go one step forward. We can personalize the belief, the treatment explanation, what makes the treatment works. And by doing so, we can create what I call a complete personalized treatment. Because by shaping the beliefs around them, we can make medicine truly personal. So the next time you take a treatment, ask yourself, do I believe it will work? Because that belief might be doing more than you think. Thank you for listening, and thanks to my labs for all their help.